Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Wave the Brush. With me, your host, Kris, a.k.a. Mini Wargamer Kris, a.k.a. The Name Butcher, a.k.a. I'm all out of AKs. Wave the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun. Meaning, no topics are barred. We'll talk about anything and everything. Exactly as that sounds. Well, even phones interrupting us. So, if you're a brand new viewer and you're attending live, you can always ask your questions over in the comments, whichever way it is. I think it's over here, right? You can ask your comments there. And of course, if you are watching this after the fact, you can post your comments to Kris@miniwargaming.com. That's the email. It's in the description below, as well as a link to waythebrush.com, which, you know, is the central hub of all this silliness. It's got links to the social media stuff, the Twitters, the Instagrams, Facebook, and of course Discord. Discord's been a lot of fun. It's not really social media, but you know, it's a chat program. But I'm on the thing all the time, and it's hilarious and it's fun. And just like this show, we will talk about anything and everything. It usually devolves into a lot of silliness on the Discord, but sometimes we get a little heavy. Sometimes, every once in a while, it's, you know, we ask the hard-hitting questions about life in general. And also we talk painting as well. But we got many channels and everything like that. It's a lot of fun. If you have not tried Discord out, follow the links. And, yeah, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. And, yeah, again, it's really one of the best ways to get into contact with me, ask me questions, or even ask any of the monkeys questions, you know. Of course, waythebrush.com also has links to the t-shirts, merchandise. Also, I will have handles and such coming out soon. I know I keep saying that, but trust me, I'm trying to get them done. I also have a few other projects on the go that I've got to get moving on, and so yeah, projects. So waythebrush.com, of course, also everybody who's purchased a shirt, send in a picture of yourself with your t-shirt on, and I'll put it in the monkey shrine. And that's basically just for all the monkeys to look at themselves and, you know, everybody kind of have a laugh and kind of, you know, get an idea of what other people are looking like. And, you know, it's kind of fun. And, again, it's really, I call it the monkey shrine because, again, it's the shrine to you guys who've been longtime viewers and, you know, brand new people who are going to convert to longtime viewers. You never know, right? And, you know, again, I always say it, this show is always about you guys. If you guys didn't ask me questions and send me emails and stuff like that, wouldn't do the show. Wouldn't bother. It's a nice sunny Saturday, and I'd probably off be doing other things. Not to say that you guys are cutting in on my action or anything like that, but, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, I like helping people. And so, yeah. And, of course, also on waythebrush.com, links to the Patreon. I'll always have to thank my patron supporters for, you know, their generous donations. They make a lot of the fun things and a lot of the improvements and upgrades and stuff that I've been doing. You know, it just wouldn't be possible without their contributions. And so always big thanks to them. And of course, I also do another program for the patrons. We do a paint along. And so we've just started into a new one. So anybody who's considering joining us in that, we're just at the very the needle tip of the iceberg, as it were. So it's a good time to join up and see what's happening, what's all about. And of course, you know, again, you got to be a patron to join in, and I don't charge for it. It's you know, it's just my way of saying thank you to my patrons. And of course, I always have to say a big thank you to Guymere Alfer, aka Carl, aka Beer and Blood Bowl. That's his YouTube channel. Check him out. If you love yourself some beer and Blood Bowl, you know, it's a good time. It's good for laughs. They're in the middle of quite a big, like, tournament thing going on. So, yeah. And, you know, always a big thanks to him just because he took time and, you know, he created some really great jingles that we play at the beginning of email segments. And so it always puts a smile on our face. And, you know, we always have to thank Carl because it was very generous of him to contribute his time as such. Was that about it? Is that the usual intro spiel? Other than taking monkey roll call, of course, as I usually say, if you are attending for the first time and you ask your questions, and if I don't get to your questions, usually one of the monkeys will answer your question. A lot of them, very knowledgeable, very clever, and, you know, some of them have been watching me for a long time, and so they'll know my usual responses to a lot of questions, but not to mean that I'll ignore your questions. Just, you know, you feel free to take their advice as well, because, again, a lot of them are very knowledgeable. And, of course, speaking of monkeys, I don't know, I saw that last question or comment from Aqua, or a.k.a. Acidic Rain. We got Ghost of Starman Deluxe joining us today. Hi, monkeys. Damien Hibbert, there he is. Grubhub ad, I watched it. Hope you get something for this. Ishab, morning all. Morning, Kris. Aloha from chilly New York. Morning, Sammy. Ebb and Flow, sup, everybody. Congo, hey, yo. Kevin Cabal. Happy Monkey Day. Happy Monkey. Is it National Happy Monkey Day? Is it? I don't know. Knitfink, hello, everyone. Hello, Knitfink. Sir Peanut Butter, morning, monkeys. Cuh King 555, 1 minute behind on YouTube. You're 1 minute behind on YouTube, or I'm 1 minute behind on YouTube. I know there is some like discrepancy in time between, like, because like I'm doing a simulcast to Twitch and to YouTube, and yeah, it seems like Twitch is more responsive, more kind of like immediate, whereas YouTube there always seems to be this delay. But I mean, it's YouTube. Can you imagine what kind of traffic YouTube servers are under? People uploading, people downloading, you know what I mean? Like Twitch, for the most part, it seems like, you know, most people are watching Twitch rather than, you know, posting on Twitch, whereas I think on YouTube it's more of like a 50-50 kind of situation. I don't know. I have no numbers. That's just a surface anecdotal type response to that. I mean, I'm the way it feels to me anyway, looking at it. Anyway, Dark Commission, hey up, Kris, hey up, hey up, hey up, Kris and monkeys. Yeah, hey up. That's what he said. Hey up. Beer and Blood Bowl, hello, monkeys, there he is. And the Monkey Master, first live show in ages. Well, welcome, Carl. Damien Hibbert, morning from the town where people think it's cold. Of it falls below 60, Houston. Below 60, that's cold for you guys? Well, I'd imagine so, because we were way the hell down there. But, yeah, 60 ain't that cold. 60 around here, that's, man, people are still walking around in their shorts in 60. Acidic Rain, ayo, ayo. He's over on Twitch. Raziel, hey to the monkeys and Kris. Ishab. Talk of anything, Kris, tell me about the birds and bees. How do they fly? Well, birds flap their wings. It's kind of like how, you know, how basically, like a penguin, right? He swims. Well, birds do that in the air. It's like a swimming motion, right? Bees, on the other hand, flap their wings so darn hard in multiple directions kind of thing that they just can fly. And that's how they can kind of hover and such, whereas only like hummingbirds can kind of hover, right? Because they flap their wings so hard in many directions kind of thing. But how do they pull it off? Well, it's the shape of their wings. If you've ever seen the shape of an airplane wing, which is modeled after a bird's wing, it's a flat underneath with a curve at the leading edge, and it tapers down towards the back, and that creates a pressure over the wing and creates lift from that shape, and that's what birds' wings have. Insect wings, I'm not sure if they have that exact same shape. I'd kind of imagine they do, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm sure Ishab was just joking about that, but I mean, I'll answer the question. I'll answer just about any question that I think I can. Acidic Rain, haven't been painting, just building a box of Pathfinders because I don't have time because of school and shit. Well, Acid Aqua, Acid Aqua. Ooh, Aqua Acid. There we go. There's another handle for you, buddy. You gotta take care of life first, right? I mean, you know, hobby time. I mean, if you really want to get your hobby time in, you'll sacrifice something else. You know, watching TV, playing video games, that kind of thing, right? Because that's your free time. And so when you're looking at how much free time you probably have, you know, some free time, and you can, you know, probably cut an hour out from here and an hour out from there, and you know what I mean. But like, as far as school is concerned, well, you got to dedicate all your time to that. As far as your family's concerned, you got to dedicate all your time towards that, right? So, yeah, it's your free time. I mean, it's, you know, watch a little less TV, you know, play a little less video games, and you know, get your Pathfinders modeled up. Ghost Starman Deluxe. I guess Kris is now the artist formerly known as Hey You Get Off My Lawn, since he never mentions that AK anymore. It's when I'm feeling like an old man, and then, you know, I'm shaking my fist at all the kids out there. It's, you know, it's get off my lawn, you little brats. Acidic Rain. I just need a good scheme. Well, I mean, you know, you can pick one of the schemes from the books, or you can, you know, make up your own. Making up your own can be very challenging because, you know, if you're not really understanding the balance of colors and, you know, the color theory of stuff, and yeah, a lot of people struggle with. That's why a lot of people struggle with, you know, making up their own color schemes, and that's why I often get a lot of questions about making up color schemes, because it does require you to have a little bit of knowledge on, you know, how colors play with each other, and, you know, light and dark, and, you know, complementary, you know what I mean? But a very rudimentary understanding of all that, you know, you can kind of get there. Again, I mean, you know, I'm here if you really need some help. Acidic Rain, maybe like hot pink and blue or some shit. Hot pink and blue? Yeah, like a hot pink and kind of a mid-tone, or even a gray blue. That would be kind of cool, actually. If you're being serious. If you're not being serious, well then, you know. It says black and yellow. Black and yellow? Sure, black and yellow. Black and yellow is a good color scheme. I like it. That's what I'm painting my blood bowl. See, he's got number 7 on his back. Number 7. For any of you NFL fans out there. Anyway. Geofits, greetings, fellow monkeys, greetings. Acidic Rain. Oh yeah, suggestion Kris. Make more segments in the show. Make more segments in the show. Monkey roll call time. Well, this is kind of monkey roll call time. Usually the beginning of the show is monkey roll call, and I'm just kind of, you know, going through the comments initially, and that usually ends up leading to like the first hour of the show, and then, you know, it's like, oh, I got to get some emails, you know, and I've got quite a few emails to go through today, so, you know, it's going to be an action-packed show. It's going to be an action-packed, like, no, some really good ones here, some really good ones. I honestly can't wait to get to the emails, because there's some of them good ones. Anywho, Eric Fountain, morning, Kris and the monkeys, morning. George Hens, hey ya. Grim over on Twitch, howdy y'all. Ka King, after the stream, there's going to be a Discord party to play Vermintide 2 and Space Hulk Deathwing. Really? That's what we're gonna do today? All right. I don't have Vermintide, and I don't have Space Hulk Death Hulk. Wow, Space Hulk Deathwing. I have the first Space Hulk, but Deathwing is the more of a first-person shooter type one, though, isn't it? I think. Damian Hibbert. Houstonians and our wimps with the cold. Then again, we thrive in 100. Yeah, but it's a dry heat, from what I understand, in Texas. I mean, I lived in Tennessee for a bit, in Memphis, and that was like 120 with the humidity, and that was gross. Raziel, it's getting cold here where I live in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. The Smoky Mountains. I love that, Smoky Mountains. I always think of Inglorious Bastards. Come down from the Smoky Mountains. Anyway, in fact, going to get a ceramic heater for my shop where I paint so it's tolerable. Cool. Aaron Siege, howdy, Kris and fellow monkeys. Spending my day cleaning and testing 30-year-old NES games. Something a bit different on the nerd side. Very cool. Yeah, I seen your post yesterday on some of the NSA. NES. Wow, completely getting all my acronyms all wrong. Acidic Rain. Acid Aqua. Yeah, Acid Aqua. Or Aqua Acid. One of the two. Acid Aqua, I think. Acidic Aqua. Yeah, there we go. Cock King 555, or game of Fortnite or Overwatch. I don't have Overwatch either. I've got Fortnite. I don't have Overwatch though. My daughter is a big Overwatch fan, and she's like, she always throws the hints at me. You know, what about throwing Overwatch on the computer? Like, I'll never get her off this machine. I mean, you know, I mean, it'd be like, you know, kicking her off and then doing the show, and then she's right back here on here kind of thing, I think. Reziel, I'm also originally from Houston too. LOL, I hate the heat now. Ramv, hey you monkeys, hey you Kris, hey Ramv. When is Shrine of Chaos with Dave? He just did it yesterday. I don't know if that's going to be his regular date and time. I don't know. I don't know if we've made any announcements on this, but I don't think it's too secret. But we're going to do a lot more live streaming, so on Twitch. And so, yeah. So everybody who was a fan of Shrine of Chaos, good, because now he's going to be doing it on a regular basis. There's also going to be a couple other programs. I think maybe the Sit and Talks might go to a live or what live every once in a while. I'm not too sure. And of course, I think some of the boys are doing kind of like, if you guys remember the reroll, I think they're doing something similar to that as far as, you know, a live content kind of thing. Either way, expect these new programs from Mini Wargaming that are going to be, I think they're primarily going to be on Twitch. That these will be very regular. They'll be very regular. Because I'm pretty sure Matt has other plans for the live channel. And so, yeah. It's very exciting. It'll be very cool. Sir Peanut Butter in Dallas area. Houston might be hell on earth or hell's neighbor. Grim over on Twitch. Deathwing is indeed a first-person shooter style game. Very cool. Yeah, I was pretty sure. It had some really great graphics on it. I remember from the commercials. I was like, oh, ooh, wow, Deathwing, you know, and then it had like the Broodlord, and he's like, oh, you know. I don't remember what sound he makes, but it's kind of, you know, you guys get it. Damien Herbert, oh no, super humid in Houston. Is it? Is Houston humid? Yeah. I mean, I guess so, from like the Gulf and everything like that, and you get that warm moisture coming in, but I didn't know how moist it was, because, I don't know, my idea of Texas is mostly kind of dry earth. I mean, I've never been to Texas, so I have no idea. I mean, all I have are things I've seen on TV and movies, you know what I mean? And they usually depict the Texas as really dry, not a lot of vegetation, you know what I mean? And, you know, yeah. I mean, I realize I'm sure there's lots of vegetation, but I mean, not like you get up here. And mountainous ranges and stuff like that, to the level up here. Up here, you know, we're up to here with mountains and trees and stuff like that. Geofits, when people say, but it's dry heat, I also think, so is an oven. Doesn't make it any less hot. No, I realize that, but humid heat is different from dry heat. Humid heat, there's no escaping the heat. Dry heat, you can get in the shade, and it's going to be noticeably cooler. Humid heat, you get in the shade, and it does nothing for you. There's no escaping the heat in a humid, hot situation. There's just no escaping it. It's just, you're just, and you just feel like you're just gonna melt. Raziel, Houston is humid as hell, Kris. I never knew hell was humid. I always assumed hell was a dry heat as well. Congo, action-packed, dramatic trailer music in a paint-a-locus. Oh man, I can't even say the word. Apocalypse. A paint-ocalypse. There we go. A post-paint-ocalypse world. One man is on a mission, dun-dun, to gather the 7 sacred paint pots. Action noises and heartbeat. Dun, 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 dun. He is the painter. Coming to a theater near you. Never. Well, you don't know. I could be in the talks for a miniature painting movie deal. You don't know. You don't know what I'm doing. Oh man, my chair. Damn chair. I gotta get a new chair. This thing's sinking on me. Raziel, Southwest Texas is more like Louisiana. Oh, okay. Sir Peanut Butter, 120 humidity, 110 Fahrenheit, 100% heat stroke. Yeah, exactly. Grim, thinking of weather people, where I'm from, when it gets below 25 C, which is to say they'd have a heart attack hearing all about y'all weather up there, up north. Yeah. Dr. Xantos, hello monkeys, monkey lord. Mad Hoser, hi kids, BRB. Okay. Ram V, oh no, new project again. Wow. Ghost of Starman Deluxe went to Houston 4 times back around 2013. Only left the airport once. It was pretty humid. Not as humid as Mississippi though. Yeah, I've been in Mississippi because, well, it's right there next to Memphis. Yeah, I've been to Mississippi, and that was, you know, man, it was rough. Oh, yeah. My wife has started putting cinnamon back in my coffee. I love a little bit of cinnamon in my coffee. It's really, really tasty. If you don't put a lot of cinnamon, or it's like quarter teaspoon into like a 10 cup kind of coffee cup or coffee pot. You don't put it in you put it in the grounds when it brews, right? But anyway, for any guys out there who've never tried it, I highly recommend it. And also, cinnamon's really good, from what I've read, for people for controlling their blood sugar levels. Your body naturally likes cinnamon, and it helps regulate whatever properties it has. But apparently, that's one of the things I read in Health magazine one time. It was like, cinnamon's really good for you, and especially for like people who are like on borderline diabetic kind of thing, right? So, yeah, I've had it in my coffee for years, and then it seemed like the longest time I didn't have it, and then all of a sudden the wife decided, you know what, we're going to put cinnamon back in the coffee. Maybe because we're getting close to Christmas right now too. It's kind of nice and tasty. But if you haven't done it, I definitely recommend it. Give it a try, especially if you're a big coffee drinker. Anyway, where was I? Dark Commission episode 226. It went runch, and I felt ear-runch. Sir Peanut Butter, wave the brush, movie for... Yeah, could you imagine a 2-hour show where I just sat here looking at the camera and just talked the entire time? I mean, nobody would watch that. Oh, wait. Razio, hey man, we're talking about the weather and such. Bunch of old monkey bastards here. Yes, we are a bunch of old monkey bastards. We're just talking weather. We're just getting warmed up for the really good questions. I mean, yeah. Just getting warmed up, man. We're just getting started here. We're 20 minutes. Come on, this is way of the brush. It's always a slow start. Steve McDemon. Hey y'all, I'm a bit late, but I made it. Well, welcome, Steve. I always like that name, Steve McDemon. That's fun to say. Steve McDemon. It rolls right off the tongue. Steve McDemon. Steve McDemon. It's fun. Try it. Say it to yourself. Don't say it 3 times in a row, though. He'll probably pop up in your living room. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of Steve McDemon, so I can't say for sure. Or maybe I have. Have I? I don't know. But either way, if I have seen him, then I'd recognize him. If I haven't seen him, wouldn't recognize him. Be a stranger in my living room. As opposed to any other day. Damien Hibbert. Cinnamon in coffee is brilliant. I'm doing it in the next pot. Yes, definitely. Just like half a teaspoon. Doesn't take a lot. And just lightly sprinkle it over your grounds. Just give your grounds a little bit of shake, even it out. You know what I mean? Allow it to marinate in there, and then start up pot of coffee, half pot, full pot, whatever. And I'm just drinking my coffee just black with a little bit of honey, and it's a delish. And for any of you guys out there who aren't coffee drinkers, well, you don't know what you're missing, because I'm getting a wicked caffeine buzz, and I feel great. Ishab, seriously, I heard cinnamon good to help with several health issues. Go figure. Yeah, I've read that too. It was years ago, years and years ago. I heard that, and so I was like, "Damn, that's for me, man. I'm gonna, maybe offset all my other bad habits." And so I started putting cinnamon in my coffee. It was actually, I had heard it, or I knew of one of our friends, very traditional Italian family, and they used to do it. And I was like, wow, because we'd have coffee at their place, and I was like, oh, wow, that's like delish. What do you do? Just throw a little bit of cinnamon in there, and it's like, okay, I'm in. I'm down. I like Italian cuisine, and you know what I mean. And so, if somebody's telling me, try something out in Italian, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I love Italian food. It's great. I mean, it's also built this enormous frame, but whatever. David Herbert, all I need to tell this to John at work. He's got BP issues like 170 over 110. Jeez. Man. Yeah. Seriously, though. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it will do for the blood pressure, but it helps the body regulate the blood sugars. And so apparently it was like, I remember like people who were borderline diabetic or early onset diabetes, that it was actually beneficial. What exactly it's doing, I'm not sure. But I mean, cinnamon is, from the earth. It's good. It's a spice that we all know and love. It goes so well with sugars, but, even offsetting something bitter like coffee, it's great. Tavo, I guess I ought to get some cinnamon for that trial. Yeah, just try it out. I mean, if you're a coffee drinker, just try it. Do it up a pot. Just do like half a teaspoon. Just sprinkle it in. Just give it a shot. It's not like your head's going to explode or, an alien's going to pop out of your chest or something like that. I mean, it's, you're either going to like it or you're not. Simple as that. I find it very tasty myself. It makes the coffee very nice. Dark Commission. I don't drink coffee. Would a cup of cinnamon be okay? Like just straight up dry cinnamon? Oh man, that would choke you out. You just get choked right out, man. Don't even do it, man. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Just the whole cup powder everywhere. Yeah, don't do it. And that'd be a waste of cinnamon because cinnamon's good stuff. Yeah. But yeah, you probably get all on your face, and your face would all absorb all the moisture, and it would cake onto your face. It'd go up into your nostrils, solidify, cutting off your airway, cutting off the airway in your mouth, and then bang, you're dead. For what? For cinnamon. Vasily Shimko, hi Kris and Monkeybots. Monkeybots. Kris, what does the cow say? It says moo. For Envy, any Monkey Orc player out there? Monkey Orc? After Waw, Flesh, and Shade, what highlight green do you use on your boys? Thanks. After Waw, Flesh, and Shade, I often will go to... No, not Straken Green. That's Waw, Flesh. Do I have it here? I thought I had them all in the green sitting here. Warboss Green. Go with... Okay, so... Alright. This one here is Waw, Flesh, Warboss Green. That'd be the next logical highlight. And then, of course, if you want to go to a nice fine highlight, I would go something like Nurgling Green or a lighter green. Sorry, I was looking through my paints here. And again, Kris needs paint racks. And I talked about it, I think, last episode. I'm basically harassing Austin from Death Ray Designs. I want to see if they can produce a particular look, because I like their paint rack and I want to buy some off them, but I want to know if we can change the material. So I've been bugging him. I haven't bugged him in a bit though, but yeah. Cocking, start an email right now, maybe. Tavo, time to start derping around with murder clowns with the show running on the background. Dr. Xantos, are we getting all Russian monkey bots? Are we getting Russian bots? Is my server going to get full of Russian bots? No, Russian monkey bots. There we go. Yeah, because Vasily is a bot. Vasily is a bot. Russian monkey bot, troll bots. Monkey troll bots. Eric Fountain, damn, I'll try to cinnamon in my coffee right now. Yeah, give it a shot, man. I mean, you guys are all... I'm almost ready to guarantee, kind of, maybe, sort of, that you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. If you're a coffee drinker, if you like your coffee, I mean, if you have coffee every once in a while, you might say, oh, yeah, that's kind of nice. But if you're a regular coffee drinker and just a little bit of cinnamon, you're going to go, wow, that's fantastic. I'm going to drink more coffee now. Dark Commission, Comrade Baboon. Baboon? Congo! It is my semi-professional opinion to not eat a cupful of straight cinnamon. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Anybody who's doing that stupid... I mean, I assume we've moved past that. Nobody's doing that stupid cinnamon challenge. I mean, we've known that one since we were kids, that you can't do that. And I mean, like, I don't know where the education system's at nowadays, but it seems like all these really retarded things are just coming back. It's like, no. You don't do that. There's just things you don't do, and that's one of them. Dark Commission, episode 226, Death by Cinnamon. Ishab, some tried to do a spoon of cinnamon. Yeah, exactly. You can't do it. Some have choked to death because it is a fine substance and blocked the lungs. Do not do, Safety Sam says. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not because it's small particles. It's because the property of the particles, because apparently cinnamon is, I can't remember what the term is called, but basically it grabs molecules like moisture, water. It goes for water and it brings it to it. And so it's, I can't remember what the hell the word's called. I can't remember what it's called, but that's the property cinnamon powder has. It just wants to grab moisture, and that's why when you put it a little bit in your mouth, it just immediately dries up because it's jumping to all those moisture molecules. Not moisture molecules, but like water molecules. Congo, wild flesh, non-oil, wild flesh, moot green, and my bad moon warboss. Oh, on my bad moon warboss. Okay. Yeah, wild flesh. Non-oil, that's pretty dark. I mean, it works. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of wild flesh and then Bale Tan green, just because it's still really dark green. Of course, another fun one would be is like a Reichland flesh shade, or even sepia. Do that, and then begin your orc highlights. That way, it gives you those browny orange tints in the recesses, and that one's a lot of fun. You know, if you ever see orc skin where they have that really great kind of fleshy tone to them, where it's almost like red in the recesses, that's the kind of look you'll get. Ramv at Kris, cool, thanks, no problem. Mad Hoser, I like coffee in my coffee. Well, who doesn't like coffee in your coffee? Cinnamon is a tree product. You are basically eating sawdust. Sure, nothing wrong with eating sawdust. I mean, you're not really eating it. It's more or less a flavoring. Because, I mean, like, if you look at your grounds, when you drink coffee, you're not eating the grounds, right? You're drinking the byproduct, the filtered, the tiny, minuscule particles of it, right? And so cinnamon's the tiny, minuscule particles of it into the coffee. So, yeah. But, yeah, you can eat sawdust if you want. I know when one is feeling ill, or feeling like congestion in the lungs, in the sinuses and stuff like that, there's a tea you can make with like spruce or pine, and you just take the bark, just like take a couple chunks of bark, put it into a pot, make a tea out of it, drink it. Tastes like hell. It actually tastes like Buckley's, because Buckley's uses pine, and that's what gives Buckley's that really awful taste. It's pine extract, and I don't know if Americans have Buckley's, but anyway, in Canada we've got Buckley's, and it works. It works great. It's cough syrup. You take it. It's like, oh my god, it's freaking hell, and you're just dying. You're pounding on the table, and you can feel your sinuses are on fire and your lungs. But then all of a sudden, you kind of give one big cough, and then all of a sudden, everything starts to flow, and you're like, oh wow, that worked. And that's basically because of the pine. The pine's doing that. Grim sawdust that tastes great in certain cookies. Yeah, it does. Yes, Ghost Starman Deluxe hydrophilic. Yes, that's it. Hydrophilic, I think, is the proper term for that. It's a hydrophilic. It's the property of it is hydrophilic, which means that it wants to absorb moisture. Dark Commission. I've never had cinnamon. I don't know anything about it. Way of the Brush has saved my life. Now that should have been the episode title. Episode 226. Way of the Brush saved my life. I think it's false advertising. Because then people come in going, oh, okay, Way of the Brush, it sounds like a really fantastic show. Watch it, it's like, oh, that's the idiot talking about what? He's making jokes the entire time. What the hell? He's not saving anybody. Matt Hoser, don't get me wrong, as I love cinnamon, but anything too much is a bad thing. Well, I told you, it's like half a teaspoon in the grounds. I mean, it's not like I'm saying fill the whole coffee thing up with cinnamon. Are you freaking crazy? Mad Hoser, Kris is now telling people to drink pine sol. No, not at all. I wouldn't recommend it. It hurt. Aaron Seach, I like Castilian green for orc flesh and Kislev flesh highlights tied all together with a wash of Athonian camouflage. Very interesting. Do you have any pics of that one, Aaron? Do you? Would you mind sending me a pic? Because, I mean, I can kind of picture it, and I think it's an interesting way of getting to orc flesh, and I'd love to see that. Joshua Jackson, what color is orc blood? Oh, that's debatable. That is very debatable because, I mean, some people imagine it kind of being black. Some people imagine it being very dark red. Some people imagine it being a kind of a dark, it's so black it's a dark green, you know? Mainly because orcs are fungi. They're plant-based kind of thing, right? They're an alien that's kind of, they're like a fungus, essentially. But, you know, it's fantasy, so I mean, you know, the blood could be red. Sure, why not? Right? There's no reason why it couldn't. I mean, well, I'm sure there's plenty of reasons why it couldn't, but yeah, it typically is painted as like a dark red. I've often seen it as a dark red. The only ones that kind of have funny colored blood, like Eldar is shown as kind of red. Humans, it's red. Human and Eldar, it's kind of like shown as like just kind of normal kind of red. It's not like Eldar, it's kind of like lighter red or anything like that. It's just red. Tyranids, it's described as a purple, right? So take whatever color you want from that, like version of purple, I should say. And Tau is often depicted as being blue, right? It's a blue. Anything else I'm missing out of that? No, because Necrons don't bleed. Or yeah, Necrons don't bleed, and yeah. So yeah, there you go. Chaos. Well, demons. Do demons bleed? Why not? Who knows? I mean, I've been reading, like, I just finished the 4th book of the Horus Heresy, and describing hitting the Nurgle stuff, and it's like all this pus and putridation and stuff like that coming out, and so, you know, whatever you want. I mean, it's fantasy, right? So, it's whatever you want. Enforcer 357, sup, monkeys? Sup? Demon Wraith 808, do you use painter handle when you paint? Yes, I do. I made my own, and I do sell them. But yeah, now these here will take any size up to like the big, like the big guys, the big Space Marine and Space Marine guys, Centurions. That's it. That size of base, like 50 mil, I think. And then of course I flip it over, and I can take this up to like large base, like in War Machine, or even I can take like a Dreadnought's base, like that Dreadnought size base, and you know, put it on there. So it's mostly versatile. There's no moving parts. It's just a textured grip, so you can hold it. It's got a little bit of weight to it, and yeah, this is what I use. And all I use is blue tack, sticky tack, attach my models, and I mean, you know, doesn't come off. Still there, you know. So yeah. Nathaniel, Kris, hi Kris, hi monkeys, monkeys. Steve McDemon, what color is Necron blood? I already went over that. Dr. Xantos, I believe Dr. Xantos, that's actually a better answer. Dr. Xantos says motor oil. I think, yeah, Nathaniel, Necrons bleed oil. Yeah, I'm sure I'd go with that, motor oil. I mean, I read, was it Nightbringer? Do I have my Nightbringer here? I'm not going to look over that. It's just going to make me mad. Anyway, I read the book, you know, with Uriel Ventress. He's the Ultramarines captain. And he wakes up Nightbringer. And the way he describes, like, the metallic fluid is running through the channels. And that's what powers up the Necrons. Right? So they're powered by the Satan. Because at the time in the lore, the Satan were the ones controlling, you know, the Necrons. And I kind of like that idea where it was, you know, it's basically like a T-1000 liquid metal type thing, right? So if you chopped a Necron's arm off, it would be like, you know, liquid metal would be pouring out of them kind of thing. I always thought that was kind of a cool image to kind of imagine, you know. Like mercury. It looked like mercury pouring out of them. I think that'd be cool. They should have kept that in the lore instead of making Necrons with personalities and stuff. That was kind of a really shite kind of choice, I think. And it didn't need to. Necrons were scarier before, when they were just, you know, automatons, you know what I mean? And just kind of soulless. It was like T-1000 or T-800s, right? It's like Terminator, where there's just, you know, these grimacing faces with the lights coming out of their eyes, and they're just, you know, it's kill all humans kind of thing. And you know what I mean? It was just scary. There was no personality. It was just this basic innate fear of machines, that people would be like, oh my god, these machines are just coming to kill us all. And it's, you know, and instead they made them wacky, you know, like the Lord is, I'm going to collect all these things. It's like, what? So no, I think that was a dumb choice. Because I mean, like, next they'll want to add personalities to Tyranids, you know. Tyranids are talking, little Termagants, you know, it's like Roger, and you know what I mean, like, oh god, no. just stupid ass choices. I mean, like, and especially too, a lot of the background, like a lot of older readers from, you know, the background of like 40K and stuff like that. There was a lot of mystery in the background. There was a lot of mystery, you know, where did Necrons come from? Where did Eldar? And what was the war in heaven? You know what I mean? All these things. And it was all, you could speculate for hours amongst your friends, you know what I mean? Like what this meant. And, well, this says this about this. And, you know, and he's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, maybe that does fit. I mean, you know, and you start making up all these different theories. And it was really, really fun. But then when they start explaining every damn thing, it's kind of like, well, what the, like, no, you're just taking all the mystery and fun out of the universe. Because when there's lots of mystery in the universe, then it makes it very free to include all these different kind of crazy things. And that's why when I'm looking at like the Blackstone board game now, and they've reintroduced a Man of Iron, I think that's very, very cool, right? And I was talking with Lee yesterday, and I was like, wouldn't it be very cool if they did like Horus Heresy, and went another 10,000 years into the past during the Great War with the Men of Iron, right? Where basically it was just humanity versus the robots, and it basically would just give you like this kind of Terminator kind of vibe, like, you know, humans against Skynet kind of thing. But they could spin it around and change it up, and you know what I mean, and make it different. But yeah, I thought that would be really, really cool, where basically you had even more primitive humans, maybe even the precursors to Space Marines, or what the Emperor was trying to create, or even it was, you know, it was the armor that the Thunder armor, right? It was the Space Marines in the Thunder armor, and that's who's fighting, you know, these Men of Iron, you know. And I thought that would be really, really cool, you know, like if you went back in time and did, you know, the war, the war of the Iron Men, right? And so I thought that'd be kind of cool. But anyway, I can dream, right? But that's only, you know, that's only when you can keep the universe with mystery, right? I mean, when you start explaining every damn thing and saying, well, no, because the humans already destroyed this civilization, and oh, no, they wiped out all the robots, and blah, 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 you know what I mean? Then when you get in that kind of situation, then including all these fun things from, you know, the past of 40K, you know, can happen. And when you start explaining everything, it ruins the mystery. It ruins the mystery. I like the mystery in there. You know, it gets the imagination flowing, and it makes the universe very, very exciting, because, you know, all these different possibilities become, you know, very real, right? Anyway. Congo, Thunder Warrior kits. Thank you. Thunder Warriors, yeah. Like the Mark I Space Marine suit. Dr. Zentos, oh yeah, the Man of Iron, so nice. Yeah, exactly. Ramby, Black Zone Fortress really looks cool. Yes, it does. I like it. I watched the Games Workshop video they did with the four of them sitting around the table and everything like that. And yeah, I thought it was, I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch, and, you know, it's well produced, and, you know, they show you how the game, and, you know, how the game plays, and, you know what I mean? Like, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend anybody watch that video. Dr. Zen says, also, the possible Dark Mechanicum guys are interesting too. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You can get into the point of where, you know, the Mechanicum kind of split off, or even the beginning of the Mechanicum, right? Because, again, like, you know, the Age of Strife is, you know, like, a lot of stuff gets lost in the Age of Strife. And then, of course, you know, the Age of the Imperium, or, you know, or the beginning of the Age of the Imperium, which is, you know, 30,000 years, you know, technology is, they're still looking for the STC? Yeah, STC machines, right? And so, you know, the Age of Strife can be, you know, they're still looking for them, or, you know, or it's, you know, they still have them. You know what I mean? They could tell a tale of, you know, of quite a bit of fantasy in it, you know, and very interesting. I mean, you know, there's a bazillion different possibilities you can go. And I mean, like, and making Men of Iron, I mean, like, they don't have to all look like that dude. I mean, they could be varying sizes. You can get even to, like, you know, knight-sized characters, and, you know what I mean? Like, what were the humans using to take these machines down? And, you know what I mean? It would be just like, it'd be like telling the tale of Terminator, right? It'd be like, you know, the humans versus Skynet, and the robots were, you know, trying to enslave humanity or exterminate humanity, and, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I mean, you could tell a very interesting story in that universe. I should say, in that nugget of the universe, right? I mean, it's the greater overall mythology of Warhammer 40,000, but again, you know, it's something that we've always had alluded to us, and it was in recent years that they've talked about, you know, the War of the Iron Men, and, you know, and I thought that'd be very, very cool. Because it's funny how it's always referred to as the Iron Men, right? Because, you know, I mean, what do you call artificial intelligence? They don't know, like in Warhammer 40,000, they don't know what artificial intelligence is, right? Because all the intelligences that are, you know, workforce are servitors and servo skulls and things like that. And those were all living people at one point, right? Because they're not allowed to use artificial intelligence because, well, you end up with a war with the artificial intelligence. So, you know, you just use these humans and, you know, basically lobotomized and, you know, I got to work and, you know, stuff like that, right? That's a servitor. It was a person at one point, and then they, you know, retrofit them with, you know, lifting gear or, you know, whatever, right? Anyway. Dr. Xantos, Man of Iron uprising happened around Millennium 23 and apparently made Horse Heresy look like a border skirmish in comparison. Right, exactly, right? Because the Age of Strife, I'm pretty sure that's right, that's Millennium 20, or the 20th Millennium is the Age of Strife. It's 10,000 years before the Horus Heresy. Anyway, you know, humanity is all over the place. And it sounds like, you know, they have contact with things, but then because of, you know, basically, you know, the birth of Slaanesh and stuff like that, that all gets lost. And so the war of the Iron Men, did that happen before it, during, after, right? You know, and so, yeah, it'd be kind of fun to, you know, kind of create a little niche within that universe, or within the mythology of Warhammer 40,000, that we could explore that and replay, you know, famous battles and stuff like that. Because that's kind of what Horus Heresy is, right? It's more of a Warhammer 40k historical game. And, you know, that's very, very cool, right? Because it's depicting a very interesting time within the Warhammer 40,000 mythos. And, you know, I think having another kind of point in there, basically taking these leaps of 10,000 years, right? And just be very, very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Raziel, the Iron Men were originally from even further back than the Unification Wars. Okay, so there you go. So would you just jump right into the war, or would you, you know, depict everything leading up to that point, or, you know, whatever, right? Eric Fountain, wow, cinnamon and coffee is awesome. There you go, guys. See, Eric Fountain just tried it, likes it. Eldari Lamborghini, hello there. Hello, Eldari. Raziel, it was slightly before Old Night, anyway. And the Old Night is when Slaanesh is born, is that what it is? When basically the warp is just exploding? I don't know, because that's kind of like a newer term, I think. Anyway. Eldari at Eric Fountain. It's the best way to make coffee. A pinch of cinnamon, a tiny bit of salt. Now, see, I don't add the salt, but I know salt is a flavor enhancer, and so, you know, why wouldn't it work, right? Why wouldn't it taste good? Makes the pot so good. Enforcer at Kris. I would love to see Horus Heresy style game with Thunder Warriors versus Techno Barbarians. Sure, why not, right? I mean, there's all sorts of points in 40k that have always been kind of, you know, in the background and as part of the lore and, you know, as the history, right? Because, I mean, like, there's 40,000 years. There's quite a bit of time that, you know, you try and tell, you know, from the imagined today, right, where we are today, to 40,000 years from today, you know? And there's a lot of history there to tell. And it'd be really cool, you know, to kind of hint and fill in some of those gaps kind of thing, right? And just so that basically when you're looking at Warhammer 40k and you're looking at designs of, like, say, the Rhino, whereas when you look at Horus Heresy, and you can see they use, like, you know, the Rogue Trader era type designs, but they make them look, you know, contemporary. But it's still, like, really kind of interesting because it's like, you know, you're seeing the precursor to the current form, right? Because for all of us Warhammer 40,000 players, Warhammer 40,000 is the current day, right? And so everything else is kind of, well, how did they get to this point? How did they get to this point? And you know what I mean? And so, it'd just be interesting. It'd be fun, you know? I mean, it's not, you know, it doesn't take anything out of Warhammer 40,000. It would only enrich Warhammer 40,000. And Warhammer 40,000 already has a pretty rich universe. And it would just add more, you know? Because there's lots to the current day, but there also would be lots to the day when, you know, the Horus Heresy, and lots before that, right? So Anyway. Raziel, Old Night had to do with the rise of Slaanesh. Sure, specifically all the warp storms cut off the original human colonies and then everything devolved. Yeah. I knew, like because, like, for example, like right now, okay, imagine today, right? 2019, 18. Wow, getting ahead of myself. And, right, imagine out in the universe, out in outer space, the Eldar already have their empire, but they're already this decadent type of thing, and they're just, you know, all over the place. And another 10,000 years from now, you know what I mean, is when their fall occurs, right? Or even whenever time it's supposed to occur. It happens, you know, and so, yeah, it'd just be kind of fun, you know. Just be a fun universe to explore. That's all I'm saying. Nathaniel, Kris, regarding brushes, could you elaborate on the difference on synthetic brushes and sable? Elaborate on them in which fashion? Like, for example, okay, I have. Okay, I've got a synthetic and a sable right here. Okay. So, oftentimes, most jobs for laying down base coating, priming, most of your highlighting, stuff like that, right? These two brushes are going to perform pretty much the same way. Are they going to have the same amount of life if you take care of them, wash them, and, you know, observe proper brush behavior and painting habits and such? These will last you a long time. A good sable hair brush versus the synthetic, the only difference when you start getting into the differences between these two is when you start doing more nuanced type things like glazing. Glazing is where you're going to notice a difference on how these two perform. Typically, if you use a lot of water, if you use a lot of water in your glazings and stuff like that, you're going to notice a difference in these. The sable hair brush will perform, in my opinion, and from my experience, performs better than a sable, or than a than a synthetic. Synthetic being, obviously, it's a plastic bristle. It's a nylon, and it's an unnatural hair. Versus sable. Sable's a natural hair. It came off an animal, right? Now, paintbrushes, for the most part, traditionally are just hairs. They're hairs of animals. These really, really fine ones, the sable, come from a mink. It comes from a red mink, which apparently in Russia they're up to here with red minks, and so a lot of the red sable comes out of Russia, apparently. And anybody who was trying to buy any kind of sable in recent years knows that there was an embargo on red sable because there was disagreement on how those animals were being treated because they're farming their hair, right? So, in the current day, there are problems and difficulties, and of course these cost more because they're a natural fiber, and of course the way they are being harvested. So there is issue there. Versus synthetic. Now, of course, this synthetic brush has got, like, the bristles are going all over the place, but this is actually a brush I'm in the middle of restoring because it was sitting up on my shelf and it was caked with paint. And just from two little sessions of cleaning, I've gotten the bristles to a white again. You can still see there's quite a bit of paint or discoloration down here. But otherwise, I don't even know if this comes to a point anymore. Let's see here. Yeah, I still got a little bit of restoring, but this one, it's not coming to a nice point anymore. But I think I was using this one when because I use this in my canvas work. I use this, it's oil paint that's in this one right now. Versus the sable, right? So synthetic and sable, when glazing, okay? So when you're getting into glazing and you're getting into very nuanced stuff. Now, traditionally, these fine-haired brushes, these really fine hairs, and they'll have some that have even longer hairs on them, okay? These are perfect for watercolor, okay? Canvas work, the guy's working with watercolors. He does a little bit of thing, adds a little bit of water, and then begins, laying it out on the canvas. The brushes we use, and this is why I often always recommend when anybody's looking at brushes and going to an art supply store, watercolor brushes, because they often use these natural fibers, because these hang on to water really, really well. versus these brushes, the synthetic brushes, they don't, because the structure of the fiber itself, the hair, it's a plastic, okay, versus a natural hair. Have you ever seen what a natural hair looks like under a microscope? It's like a pine cone. Its structure is all these little little shells, and they go all the way up. And you don't see that in the synthetic. You don't see that in the synthetic. The synthetic, it's more like, it almost looks like more like a sponge, and so it's random and everything. And so, whereas like this, the shape is deliberate, and so what ends up happening is you get a better draw. You can fill this brush, and it'll draw a lot better. Whereas when you're using a synthetic, and you dip it into a thin color, and you apply it, it tends, from my experience, it tends to just dump the color as soon as it makes contact. Whereas the sable, it seems to hang on to it more and draws across better. It doesn't dump all the color at once. That's what I find with synthetics and sables. And that's why. It's when you get into that really kind of nuanced kind of stuff. If you're not at that point in your painting, don't worry about it. Okay? Use whatever brush you want to use. Okay? Synthetic brushes are just fine. I often use synthetic brushes. I usually don't use them a lot for painting, other than using them for more of the lacquer and non-water-based acrylic types paints. I often will use the synthetics. I don't use my sable hairs for those kinds of paints, lacquers, and the alcohol-based ones and stuff like that. I don't use my sable for that. I often use synthetics, because it cleans out of them a lot better. So, yeah. That is really the only big difference. So you, as a brand new painter, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say this many, many times, don't worry about what the brush is. Just, if you're buying a hobby brush, okay, and you don't have a whole lot of money to spend on it, then go for more affordable options. Like I've said, Army Painter. Army Painter sells their brushes for a very reasonable price. Citadel tends to price their things a little bit more premium. I'm trying to think of who's another hobby brush. Oh, Vallejo. Vallejo offers both synthetic and sable. Army Painter, I'm pretty sure they still offer synthetic and sable. And Citadel is a lot of the brushes. Some of the larger brushes, they look like they're more Taklon. But otherwise, the brushes are, from what I can tell, it looks like they're more of a sable synthetic blend. They're a blend of fibers. So, which is fine. Because natural sable brushes, there is a lot of give in the bristles when you're applying it down to a surface. But most of the time when you're painting, you're not pushing right down to the furrow onto the surface. You're just going to kill your brushes doing that. When you, I know, bad habit, right? When you're applying, typically especially with these finer brushes, you're applying it just like the first millimeter or two of the bristles. That's it, right? That's all you're using. But then you're about halfway up the bristles with a load of paint. You should never load your brush right to the furrow with paint. Why? Because the paint will get into the furrow. Why don't you want there? And stop interrupting me. Why don't you want paint up in there? Because when the paint dries up into the furrow with the bristles and it hardens, it sends the hair splaying out in all directions, right? And that makes the brush very, very difficult to get back into a point so that you can accurately use it, right? So if you got lots of paint in there, don't worry, there are options to clear that out. You can get a good deal of that out. It's not going to be perfect, but you can. And there are plenty of brush restorers out there that can get right up in there and break down that excess paint in there. Of course, just daily use of brush soap, right? Taking care, washing your brushes between paint sessions. This is the stuff. And if you condition your brushes with this, great, because that's going to help as well. It doesn't have to be just this brush soap. If you find another brush soap you like and trust and what have you, by all means, use that. I'm not saying switch brands. Go ahead and switch brands, but I mean, I'm not endorsed by this company. But this is the stuff I use all the time, and I've been cleaning my I've been meaning to show you guys because I've been cleaning my oil painting brushes with this. This is what I mean. This is what it was for. It was for my paintbrushes for canvas work. So, yeah. Where was I? We were talking brushes. Let's go back a second here. Raziel, hey Kris, can you elaborate a bit more on the brush restoration? When you think rehab is worth it, or when it's too far gone, etc. Also, I tend to get a curved tip sometimes. I'm not sure why. Okay, curved tip on the bristles, right? Sable and synthetics. Sometimes you get a slight curve to the ends of the hairs. Okay, that can be fixed. That can be fixed. For as far as my brushes are concerned, I don't feel like reaching for them. They're kind of like way over here. Anyway, yeah, you just take care of them. You just got to take care of your brushes, especially when you're spending. You know, if anybody bought, say, Artist Opus brushes, you spent a fair amount of money on it. I mean, take care of your freaking brushes. No brush out there, just because of the brush, is going to make you a better painter. Only practice and patience is going to make you a better painter. The brushes will allow you to do some more nuanced things once you start getting into more nuanced things. But otherwise, from the start, no. So when people ask in the beginning, like, you know, Kris, what's the best brush? There is no best brush. There is none. I mean, there's very popular choices. It's all a matter of opinion. But if you're brand new to this hobby, any brush is going to be any brush. You're not going to notice the difference. You might notice a slight difference between, you know, a sable-haired and, say, hog-haired or Taklon. You might notice a bit of a difference because of the way it springs. But otherwise, you're not going to know. Eldari Lamborghini. Either that or my bad luck continues to rear its ugly head for brushes. Where am I? Nathaniel, Kris, thank you very much for your expertise. I just bought a couple of new synthetic brushes because the seller recommended them for acrylic paints, and my old set was beyond restoration. Yeah, but take care of your synthetics. I mean, you know, like I said, like, I mean, okay, I poo-poo on synthetics from time to time. I mean, that's just my own bias, and you know. And when you're doing a lot of glazing and stuff like that, the synthetics just don't. They just don't have. They don't hold the paint well, you know. Unless of course they figure out some way to create a, you know, that structure that hangs on to, you know what I mean, or they find something that has that similar structure that it gives you that same thing. I'm sure there's probably synthetic paintbrush companies out there trying to do that. I have no idea. I mean, in my experience, that's just the way it goes with the synthetics. It just seems like every time I'm doing glazing, if I ever used a synthetic, which was, you know, way back when, because I don't use synthetics when I'm glazing these days. But I always found that it was, as soon as the tip of the hairs touched that surface, it just seemed like it would dump all the paint out, kind of like a pen, right? It would just boom, and it would just send it all out. Versus the sable, which would hang on to it, and I could draw longer with it, right? So that's what I noticed. And that's why they use it in watercolor, because it hangs on to all that moisture a lot better, and it gives you a longer brush stroke. It's the only reason. And it's the only, and really, I mean, as far as paintbrushes are concerned, in oil painting, I've used the sables for oil paints, and that was just often for lining and stuff. And you'll see liner brushes. They're often very long fibered hairs. Oftentimes for oil paint, for really moving paint around, I often use a hog hair brush. I have a really favorite hog hair brush that does like most of my oil painting, because it just moves it around. Because the hog hairs are just so stiff that it just pushes the paint around, and it's fantastic. I love it. It's one of my favorite brushes to use for oil painting. For miniature painting, no, sable hairs. But anyway, but yeah, in these early phases for letting down primer, base coating, highlighting, you know, you're fine with synthetic brushes. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. It's just when you start to get a little bit more nitpicky and nuanced. Another word for nitpicky is nuance, I suppose. When you're really getting into the nitty gritty and you're very, very careful as how much color you're laying down and what color, like what depth and how much, and you know what I mean, and in space, and you know, that's when you're going to get really nitpicky about your brushes. But hopefully that's a little ways off for you. But practice will get you there. And you'll see what I mean. Eventually you'll see what I mean. Because then you'll try to do glazing and stuff like that, and you'll try to do fine glazing. When you're mixing with water now, I say. When you're doing it with water. When you're doing it with medium, the synthetics usually work fairly good. And sable hairs work great. So, if you're using mediums to create your glaze, and you're not using any waters, fantastic. And I would highly recommend everybody use mediums when you're glazing, especially when you're starting out and you're trying glazing. I definitely would recommend mediums as opposed to just using water. Because I know there's lots of painters out there who just use just water for their glazing, but it's taken them, you know, lots and lots of practice to perfect it and perfect their technique, you know. So, yeah. Damien Herbert, got to sign off. Well, see you later, buddy. Need to work on Dad's house. Thank you for saving lives. I'm not saving lives. I'm not posting. I'm not posting that I'm saving lives on this show. Holy crap! It's 10 after 1. No. How? I've been talking this long. Damn. Freaking long-winded, aren't I? Razio, I think you were about to explain curved tip restoration, but then forgot. Oh right. Okay, so basically, curved tip, really easy to fix. I was thinking about making a video of this. I may still do it, but okay, here, I'm going to tell you right now. This works really, really well for everybody out there with synthetics. This works really, really well. You got to be a little bit careful, though. You get a little pot of water, put it on the stove, get it to a boil, turn that off, let the water simmer for a second or two. Take the brush. Don't go past the furl, just right here, okay? Kind of a quick 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, you know what I mean? About 10 seconds. Pull it out, and then tease it and straighten it into a point again. If it doesn't work, 1,000, 2, you know what I mean? Give it another 10 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. You don't want to be in there too long. But basically because in synthetics, typically it's a glue that's binding all the hairs together. It could be a tie, like a piece of string tying it. I kind of doubt it. It's probably a glue. There's probably an adhesive there, and you don't want to melt that glue because otherwise, then the hairs definitely are going to go everywhere. But yeah, so basically, what you're looking to do is it's kind of like when we reforge Forge World resin. When we reshape Forge World resin, right? We warm it up so that it becomes very pliable. We stretch it back out. You know what I mean? You're not pulling on it. You're just teasing it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Everybody had headphones on. So basically, you're just teasing those fibers back into a straight line again. And that's what you're looking to do. Now, it does work with sable hair. It will work. Again, same kind of thing. Typically, with sables though, typically they're hand tied. I know, like Winsor Newton, they demonstrate through their process that the fibers are all hand tied, and then it's pinched in here with a little bit of adhesive. But yeah, you don't want to do it too long. Just it's like a 10 count, maybe a 15 count. Pull it out, and then straighten the fibers. Because again, it's kind of like, yeah, it's exactly G squared. It's warm it up and tease it back out. But you're not teasing it. You're just drawing it back to a point, right? And then just let it sit and let it be. The other way, okay, now to prevent it, because if you take care of your brushes, you can prevent it from happening, for the most part, is, of course, conditioning with your soap. Drawing those fibers and using the soap as a conditioner. And I've shown this in many, 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 many videos doing this. And you just simply, okay, really quick, you take the brush, dunk it in your water. Okay, this is after you've cleaned it with the soap. So after you've cleaned it with the soap, you rinse the brush off. Now it's nice and clean. Okay? Then you take the brush and run it 2, maybe 3 times through the soap. So you bring it one way, bring it back the other way, and for good measure, bring it back one other way, right? It'll put a little layer of soap onto the bristles. Then you just simply draw the excess soap out of the bristles, but drawing it to a nice point, leave it on its side to dry, put the cap back on, put it in its cup, and it's good to go till your next paint session. And that'll keep the bristles in a straight line. And it'll eventually the hairs do bend, but as long as you do that, it should prevent it for a long while from happening. So, yeah. And G squared, I'm going to say you won. What'd you win? My love and admiration. G squared. Warm it up. Tease it out. I like it. So, yeah. That's basically it. I mean, I was going to make a video on that one, but you guys kept asking questions, so, you know, I'm kind of obliged to answer, right? Where am I here? There we go. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. That's basically it. It's really, really simple. It works really well for the synthetics just because they're plastic, whereas the natural hairs, it's kind of like, excuse me, it's kind of like when you curl your hair, right? You wet it, you heat it, and you curl it, and the hair will maintain that shape, right? So, again, when the hairs are doing that, guess what? All it takes is for you to warm them up, straighten them back out, and let it sit. I would condition it after doing such a thing, but yeah, it should maintain that point again. Of course, too, also, as brushes get older and stuff, from rinsing, from doing this and that, and rinsing and blends and blah, blah, you know what I mean? Just the wear and tear on the life, and even if you wash it and condition it, but they will still take on funny characteristics like that, just because through the process, every once in a while, you know, it seems like every 100th brush stroke, one hair will leave the bundle, right? Because this kind of motion, you ever see, like, you know, when like plastic or resin or metal, right? You bend it back and forth, what happens, right? You keep bending it back and forth, and you keep bending it back and forth, and you do this a couple million times, eventually it breaks. Hair is no exception to that rule. It'll do that. And so when you're painting, and especially if you're really, really rough on your brushes, you're going to speed that process up. Because, I mean, you're bending it, you're bending it, you're bending it, you're bending it, bending it, bending, and the hair's going to come off. It's just a natural process. But trying to take care, being observant of how your workflow goes, not allowing too much too much paint to build up along the length of the bristles, you know what I mean? There's a lot of steps you can take to prevent that and get the most life out of your brushes. So, yeah. Reziel, I technically only own one Winsor Newton Sable. The only issue I've had with it is losing the tip over time. I think need to clean some paint out of the furl. Yes. Yeah, my Winsor Newtons, I mean, like, I don't even have my Winsor Newtons here. That's how often I use them. And I have the miniature, Winsor Newton miniature. There's Winsor Newton Series 7s, and there's Winsor Newton Series 7 miniature. Series 7s have a couple like a centimeter length of bristle on them, and miniature is about a millimeter or two of length of bristle on them. They're very, very short bristled, but they come to a really brilliant fine point. Really great. G squared, Kris, you look like Vanna White selling something. Kris, the master salesman. I look like I'm selling something. What, the master's brush soap? I'm selling the master's brush. I don't know. Nathaniel, Kris, while we're at it, what types of brushes should a miniature painter have? Many assortment. I mean, one brush is not going to do it all for you. It can, right? It can, but you know, some paint jobs are going to require a larger brush, a flatter brush, sharper brush, shorter bristle, longer bristle. You know what I mean? And just as your workflow develops, you know, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. The Citadel brush set that comes with all those varying brushes, that's pretty good. And I'd like to think that Citadel sat down and got all the painters together, and they said, what brushes are we using the most when we are painting all our miniatures very, very quickly? And, you know, I mean, like, and they have like a crap ton of painters in their heavy metal team with, you know, years and years and years and years and years of experience. What brushes do we need? And I'm hoping that's what they did when they put out the latest line of Citadel brushes, because it comes with a very wide range of brushes that often a lot of people will use. You know, right, everything from like a half-inch brush right down to, you know, rounds. You know, rounds are typically what we use to paint, but there's flatter brushes that are basically, you can tell because the furrow's crimped and it's flat, right, and it becomes kind of like a blade shape. We use a lot of those, right? And we even have brushes that are designed as dry brushing brushes, right? So, you know, I mean, people can crap on Citadel all they want, but that brush, as far as a new person's concerned, yeah, I would recommend it. As far as a new person's concerned, yeah, they're going to pay a premium price on it, but it saves them the heartache of trying to figure out what brush to use, because the brushes have on them the name of what you should be using it for. It's pretty intuitive in that regards for a new person. For all of us experienced painters, yeah, we just go grab whatever brush we need, you know? But, yeah. What? Congo, Kris, now have 45 to 2. I'm 45 minutes to 2. Oh, yeah. I know. I gotta get moving on some of these emails here. Jabba's left nut. Only switched on. How many emails did I miss? You didn't miss any. Jabba, that surprises me. No, it doesn't. You're being a smartass. Steve McDemon, I love the Citadel base and artificial brushes. Yeah. Yeah, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. You know, the only thing, you know, is you pay a premium price on these brushes. But, you know, if you take care of them, you save yourself money in the long run. How do you save yourself money? By spending another $10 on one of these. And take care of your brushes. That's it. Right? Job's left nut. Have we talked meat yet? No. All right. Okay, enough goofing around. No, you know what, guys? Enough goofing around now, all right? Just, you know, enough. Let's jump to an email. So, let's start with, start with this one, because we haven't played, I don't think I've played this one in a while. Turn your headphones up or down, whichever it is, but here it comes. Email time. Email time. And of course, always big thanks to Guy Alfer, aka Carl, aka Beer and Blood Bowl. That's a channel. Check him out. Big thanks to him for creating the jingles that we all know and love. Alrighty, here we go. This is from our buddy Ben Ellis. Hello, Monkey Lord. I found a little time to finish off the Chaplain. Here is my offering. This is just from my homebrew chapter. Kind regards, Ben. And so let's have a look here. Ben. Let me switch camera. There we go. And so let's have a look. Oops. There we go. Enough goofing around. So, Ben is an excellent painter. And he is... I'd have to say he's mastered, or mastering. He's mastered, I'm going to say, dry brushing. Because his dry brushing is really, really good. He's got a really great handle on creating gradients. And believe it or not, for anybody looking at this and not familiar with Ben's work, that flame on the cloak and the shoulder pad, that is dry brushed. Now you're thinking, okay, wait. How do you dry brush that? So he lays the color down first, and then he lays the black down. He creates that gradient and then puts the black in. That's how he's creating that. I'm pretty sure, anyway. I mean, even I could be wrong. I don't know. I assume that's how I would do it if I was dry brushing the entirety of it. But there we go. So lovely work on the cloak. Very consistent with Ben's style of painting. See all the little skulls and everything like that. Love the color scheme. It's got that brassy kind of gold color, and you got the little hints of blue everywhere just to go along with the flames. Very, very cool. I like the stand. It's just this big tower skulls. It kind of reminds me of the thing from War Machine, or really from Minions. The pile of bones that move around. I can't remember what the hell they're called now. It's been so long since I played War Machine. But yeah, very, very cool. Very nice work, Ben. Awesome stuff. Very cool. Thank you for sending that in, Ben. And of course, we're looking forward to updates when you finally get your Warhound Titan. You didn't get it yet, right? Or did you get it? I don't remember. Either way, very, very cool. Next email we're going to jump into is from our good buddy, Johnny Wraith. Hey, Kris, sending you a few pics of my current project. Would love to hear what you and the Monk Eyes think. Johnny Wraith. Now, Johnny Wraith is one of those cats that I often talk about because, well, damn it, I hate when it does that. I just like seeing the progress Johnny's making. And, you know, with Johnny, I always like, I can always see him improving and improving. And it's really, really fantastic. And I know there's a lot of you out there that, I mean, every time you're sending your emails in, I can see you progressing. And then, you know, and it's always fantastic. And so here, Johnny is working on a big old demon. Looks like he's using old Citadel dragon wings, too, for it. That's very, very cool. Oh, this thing's turning sideways on me. Everything's going sideways on me, for God's sakes. But very, very cool. I like it. I like the wounds in the belly. Splatter of blood. It looks like he's not done because the base still needs to be finished. I'm not sure if he's done with the white flesh or the wings. The wings look like they're just still in primer coat. The blood looks nice and gross. Lots of texture on the wood of the scythe. Really nice work on that weathering on the armor. Really, really cool. Yeah, it looks really good. It's kind of scary with just those deep sunken eyes. I don't know if he's going to paint that or not, but... Oh, was that it? That's not it. Why did I jump out of there like that? Yeah, there we go. Liking the tone on the flesh. The distended flesh and the pocks and the holes. It's kind of disturbing. No, it's not kind of disturbing. It's very disturbing. Looks like even his jaw's coming off and he had to like staple it back together or something. That's gross. And of course the back. Yeah, it looks like the wings are done. I would have to say the wings are not done. So I'm not sure what direction he's going with those wings. But so far it looks really, really cool. It's very, very scary. Gross. Disgusting. Again, it's work in progress. So, I mean, like, you know, there's lots of room for him to, you know, go further. I mean, I really don't have much to add right now because I'm not sure exactly, you know, where he wants to go. I think on the flesh, on some points, the low points, I think he can kind of bring a bit more shade back into that. The color at which the shade kind of looks, or the shadows on the flesh, now it could be the camera, I'm not sure. But it feels very cold. It feels very cold, and it doesn't feel warm. You know, I guess maybe he's going more for maybe a dead, gaunt kind of flesh or something like that. I'm not sure. We have not talked about it. He's not mentioned it to me. This is the first thing. He also didn't leave a lot of info in the emails to kind of, you know, kind of give us an idea on what kind of vibe he was heading for it. But, was it Restream died? Restream died? Restream crashed. No, that's showing live. I'm showing... What do you mean Restream crashed? Restream is the program I use. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, everything looks like I'm still showing everything's live. Yeah. I mean, as far as Restream is my end. You shouldn't be seeing anything of Restream on your end. Other than maybe like in the comments here. But that's just when I change frames, does that change. For whatever reason, until I can get it to sit, so it sits in memory. This will, yeah, this little chat thing here, this will reset. But I still see all the comments. That still goes by, don't worry. Because I have a program that is running that shows me the chat continuously. And I can even go all the way back. So, anyway. Nathaniel, wings could use some holes in them. Looks too smooth and clean in comparison to the body. Okay, Johnny, are you listening to that one? You'd have to very carefully do it. But yeah, I kind of agree. Maybe some holes in the wings. So, you know, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so like the flesh is very, very ghost white. Versus like having the little pocks and you know, the marks and stuff like that. That's all fine. Again, I'm not sure what direction you're going to go for the wings, but I definitely would take Nathaniel's idea there. Introduce some holes and tattering along the bottom of the membranes. I think that'd be very, very cool. Yeah. I think like maybe even when you get to it, now this is a finishing thing, but when you get to it, kind of like slime or something dripping out of his mouth, like, you know, creating drool or even bile coming out of the mouth. I think that'd be very cool. Something kind of gross like that. But yeah, Johnny, looking great, looking really good. I'm looking forward to seeing more updates on that project. And yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, okay, so some people are saying that everything looks fine. Dark Commission restream just times out when then things come back when new typing. Yeah, the chat along the bottom of the screen here, this refreshes every time I change frames. And I'm not sure why it always refreshes. I haven't just dug more into it, but yeah, this will always refresh. So if I go do an email and come back, this will refresh. No biggie, but I still see all the chats because it's not, I'm not looking off this. I'm looking off another program that shows me all the chats. So don't worry. If I feel like skipping comments, I'll skip comments. I mean, you know, I'll just do it because I'm a jerk. Bears P tuned in a minute ago and I see you're fine. I am fine, thank you. But then you could be a monkey playing Kris. How would we know? Excellent question. The probability of that is low. I would not say it's impossible, but the probability of it is low. But then again, if I was a puppet, being puppeted by a monkey, how would I know I'm not being puppeted by a monkey if I'm simply the puppet? These are the deep questions we ask ourselves daily. King 5555. I'm in the future and the past. Congo, Kris, 30-minute reminder. Ha ha ha. 30 minutes. Holy moly. Well, we've got 2 emails done. And I only have a few more. Yeah, we're good. We're in good shape. We just did Johnny. We just did Johnny. Yeah, because next I've got Dark Commission. This is gonna be a fun one. So okay, so do we not have any pressing comments? No, we don't have pressing comments. Nobody's got anything that's just they got to get off their chest. I'll wait. I'll give it a second while I sip my coffee. I gotta hurry up because it's getting cold. Oh, you know what? I should have probably reminded my daughter to reset my coffee. Hold on, I'm gonna mute this. No, she's not listening to her dad. All right, let's do another email. Let's say, yeah, we'll do this one. Headphones, turn them up or down, whichever it is. But here it comes. Email time. Email time. This one is from our good buddy Dark Commission. Here is my latest completed bust. I like this one, but I'm not too happy with the face painting. And it's too late to correct it without chunking up the paint more than already is. I think the rest of it is fine, so I'll go into my cabinet with a touch of pride, or it'll go into my cabinet touch of pride. I was going to put this one up for sale, but hey ho, maybe the next one will do it. Your CNC, as always, will be appreciated. Cheers, John, aka Dark Commission. And so we always enjoy Dark Commission's work. I think he's a fabulous painter. Screw off. There we go. Tons of talent out of this man. Just, you know, really great eye for detail. And these pieces are just really, really fun. I really like the way you do the leather on the hat. The coat, the colors of the coat, leather of the belt, the shirt, the whites look great. The red looks great. The hair on the face, I like how you've pushed the hair along the upper portions of his beard. You know, it's a little closer to the flesh. Again, as you mentioned before, I think, you know, creating like a blend color so that color kind of blends. So you create that the idea of those hairs. You know, there's smaller hairs there, kind of like 5 o'clock shadow, right, on a miniature. You kind of go for that kind of look. Just like it's just a 0.5 millimeter kind of thing. It's just something just to create a bit of a, so it's not such an abrupt start and end. Also too, I find with the hairs, it's really, really dark, and I don't know if it's because you start off with a black as your primer, or if you're starting off with a white as your prime. With so many bright colors, like going for a really kind of contrasty kind of look. I mean, you don't have to start off with a black prime. You know, you can start off with a white prime. Just, you know, really build it up. I mean, maybe you are starting off with a white prime and just really kind of build down, or start off with a dark. Either way, I don't know what your process is, but for a lot of effects, I really, really like the look. Like the leather on that hat, that looks like leather to me. That, like, I would think that you took a chunk of leather and made a hat for him. That's how leather-like it looks. The belt looks really good. I think the belt around the holes, I think, could go a little lighter, because oftentimes, like, even brown leather around those holes, it gets really, really light. But that's small. That's nitpicky. As far as his face is concerned, like around his eyes and his lips, it looks pretty natural. I mean, overall, it kind of has a not real look to it. But I mean, like, okay, like your Captain Ahab, he had kind of almost a real look to him, whereas this one almost feels, and in no shape or form is this an insult, it feels almost kind of cartoonish, if that even makes sense. Oh, for the love of God! Oh, I'm getting annoyed. Okay, there we go. We're back to normal. Oh, screw off. It almost feels, yeah, in the face. I think because it's not as much tonal variation you have, whereas like Captain Ahab and the steampunk looking dude, I can't remember what the hell he was. You know, you had a lot of tonal variation in the flesh, and I think you could get there without adding a lot of paint. I think you could just simply add a few more shadows, but then I kind of would like to see more highlight on his face. I think I'd like to see, like, on a face like this, you ever see in the movies, like, when they have that kind of sunburnt kind of look on their face? I think that's what might have been missing, was that dirty sunburnt kind of look on his cheeks and on the bridge of his nose, and, you know, on the tip of his chin kind of thing. I think that kind of thing would have really kind of sold it, as far as, you know, this dirty kind of pirate kind of look. The colors in that red, though, that's just fantastic. I love all that transition in the red there, and the shadows. Jeez, he's got a screw in his back. Yeah. This is a really interesting sculpt. I like he's looking at this pirate skull head with the blade in his mouth. That's funny. Yeah. I think, now I don't know if you might have answered this or not. Yeah, I don't see you commenting at all. I don't know, maybe you're checked out for a bit. I think the next thing for these busts as far as your painting is concerned. Are you familiar with the pre-shade and going for more of a zenithal type of realistic kind of look? You might want to try it. Damn, that hat looks awesome. That leather on that hat has got me. You've got me with that, man. Because that just looks like leather to me, which is really fantastic. And the trim on the hair, or on the hat and everything like that, looks really, really good. Also, his eyes. That's a really actually pretty good shot. His eyes, I think, like the whites of his eyes shouldn't look that white. I think they should look just a little bit more kind of bloodshot. Just to kind of show he's a skeevy kind of pirate. You know what I mean? He looked like I said, like he looks more like a cartoon of a pirate than an actual pirate. And I think dirt under his fingernails, you know, dirty fingers, sunburnt face, bloodshot eyes, maybe even his lips looking like they're a little bit cracked and chapped, you know, just things to make him look a little bit dirty, like he's a dirty ass pirate. Dirty ass pirate. But anyway, thank you, Dark Commission. Awesome paint job. That looks really, really fantastic. Knitfink, I like the hair and feathers. Yeah, the hair and feathers looks really, really great. Nathaniel at Dark Commission, it feels Shakespearean. Hamlet, the the pirate talking to York's skull. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Dark Commission, it looks fantastic. I mean, you know, I agree that there's something a little bit lacking in the flesh, and I think with him, I think it would have been an excellent opportunity to kind of just make him look a little bit dirty, and make him look like a dirty pirate, right? Do the dirty fingernails and maybe a little bit of dirt in his hands, and you know, maybe a little bit of age spots on his hand, or you know, something like that. On the face, you know, just a little bit of sunburn on his cheeks and his bridge of his nose, and you know what I mean, his lips look a little bit chapped, like he's been at sea too long and he's tired of, you know, of not drinking water. He's just been drinking rum, and so his lips would be a little bit chapped. His nose would be a little bit red, you know what I mean? There'd be discoloration on his cheeks. His eyes would be bloodshot, and you know, all these things. I think those would be really, really cool. Just to add more to that character, right? You know, I mean, I'm like, because I see movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, and I look at all those pirates, and they're all dirty looking scumbags looking characters. Even like the heroes, right? They just still are dirty looking, and you know, I think if you would have pushed it to that, I think really would be something really fantastic. Now, not to say that you couldn't build that on top of what you currently have. You just have to go about it a little bit carefully, because you've already created some really great transitions there. But, you know, I don't know. Nathaniel, scurvy. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like his lips are all dry and chapped looking from scurvy. So, Congo, maybe he's a proper British privateer. Gotta look good working for the king. Maybe he's a proper pirate. I don't know. Dark Vision, thanks Chris and all the monkey comments. Yeah, no, it's fantastic looking bust, and when I initially saw when you sent that in, I looked through it really fast, because you know, I sometimes check the emails beforehand. And I saw the pictures and I was like, wow, I can't wait to show these off, because it's really great. The red of the cloak of his coat is awesome. The hair, the look of leather in the hat, in his hair, the leather in his hair, it looks fantastic. I love the process, and you're gonna have to tell me your process for doing those leathers, because we've seen that when you did Ahab's coat and something else where you did that leathery kind of look, and the steampunk looking dude, or I can't remember what the hell he was, the mechanic or whatever he is. Anyway, the leather, that look of leather, you're gonna have to fill me in on how you achieve that, because I really, really like it. It looks really, really great, and it's very, very convincing. So, yeah. Because I'm sure it's probably something along the lines of a little bit of stippling with a little bit of just creating a couple lines here and there. I imagine that's probably what you're doing, but otherwise, yeah. Dark Commission. All comments noted. I think I'll do some of it rather than abandon it. Possibly, yeah. I'm not saying, you know, it can't go on the shelf. Put it on the shelf as is. It looks great. But I think adding some of that character, you know what I mean? Because really that's what this is about, right? So if Dark Commission, you were going to enter this into competitions and stuff like that, which hopefully, you know, you are thinking about, because I mean, all those pieces that you've been showing off lately could easily place. Yeah, really, I think what the judges are going to look at technical ability, as well as bringing out the character of the sculpt. And with a pirate, immediately, just because everybody, we're so saturated with it, I think everybody's going to look at it and go like, it's got to look like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Not to say that he can't have a nice bright red coat, because he could have just stole that, but everything else could have been dirty. You know, his hands are a little bit dirty, you know, his face is a little bit worn, you know, all that stuff, right? But yeah, Demon Wraith 808 colors look sweet together. Yeah, they do. Eldari, interesting choice on the f-stop. Huh? Interesting choice on the f-stop. As in cameras? I'm not sure what we're talking about. Nathaniel, Dark Commission, wet blending lighter browns into dark browns for the leather? Yeah, from what I'm looking at, yeah, he could possibly begin off with a wet blend, right? Going from dark to light, light to dark, whichever way. There's a little bit of stippling involved, and there's probably a little bit of line work. So, I'm imagining that's probably his process. But I would love to hear Dark Commission tell me what his process is, because, yeah. I mean, I'm always interested in what other people are doing, because, I mean, hey, you know I'm not the be-all, end-all of painters, by all means. I mean, I'm always learning. I'm always looking to learn. I always want to learn. So, yeah. That's how you master things. So you always want to push yourself further. And do it. You'll get better, and you'll master the particular thing. Even if you focus on one thing at a time, and master it, and move on to another, and master, or take them all on, and, you know what I mean, slowly build up. Whichever way you want to do it, right? Dark Commission, I'm not happy with the face, so yes, I'll do it. Okay. I look forward to your progress. Ultimate Sin, evening, folks. Welcome, Ultimate. The Ultimate Sin. Ooh. Sounds a little risque. Raziel, oh man, I missed it. We'll have to go back and check it out later. Yes, definitely. Dark Commission at Nathaniel and Kris. Scale 75 brown leather and scale 75 orange leather, dry brush, and lines. Sounds pretty damn simple to me. Oh, excuse me. G squared at Kris. Keep up. Someone asked about the camera settings. What camera settings? The camera settings of the miniature, or what? I don't know. Like, we're talking about taking pictures of miniatures? Is that what we're talking about? Sorry, that's a conversation I wasn't part of. Dark Commission and A-Rex in places. Okay. Demon Wraith 808. I need to start appreciating. Yeah, appreciating. You know, I have a video on it. It's not the best video, but, you know, it gets most people by, I think. Or at least get people in the right mindset for it. Essentially, all you're doing is you start off, say, for example, with the black prime. Typically, it works with airbrushing. It's very easy to do with airbrushing because the paint is traveling in a straight line. Pretty much how light travels, right? Doing it by hand is a little trickier, but a nice little workaround for that. If anybody doesn't have an airbrush, you can do it by spray can. Okay? So you can do zenithal pre-shade by spray can. So, again, by airbrush or by spray can, you can lay down black. Boom. Okay? Not heavy. Just a nice little layer. Black. Boom. Then, you have the model, okay, at a 45-degree angle. Come at it with gray. Right? 45-degree angle. Okay? So that, like here it is, right? The model. For example, here, it's gray. I'll just use this as an example, okay? So the whole thing's black. So at a 45-degree angle, right? That's 90 degrees, right? So 45 is half of that. And you spray with the gray. Coming in like that. Not heavy. Just an even coating. Even dusting. Then, you take your white and come in straight at the top from a 90-degree angle. Straight in. Just once. Don't move it. You just psh, and hit the entirety. And it creates like a white on the very high points. And that's pretty much what I did the yellow with these models here. Here. Yeah, I did this as a zenithal of white, of yellow on the model. And I will try and quickly focus this in for you guys so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Let's go focus. My focus there. There's not a lot of light, but you can see how there's a lot of browns at play. Stuff like that, right? Here. And so it looks like there's shadows on the model, right? You see highlights and stuff. But if you look at them from the top, it's kind of hard to see actually because the light's not really shining right at the right angle. But he's, like if you're looking at him from the top, here, hold on. I gotta change the camera back again. Screw off. Okay. So if you're looking at him from the top, you'll see mostly yellow, right? You look at there and it looks like pretty much one shade of yellow. There's actually just a little bit of brighter yellow at the helmet, but otherwise it's mostly uniform yellow from the top. But if you look at him from this angle, you'll see there's darker tones. That's because I sprayed a darker tone up at him to create some of that shadow. Yeah, you can kind of see it on his backside too. You see how there's darker tones, but if you look directly at the top, see how he's pretty much evenly one color from the top? That's because the paint was sprayed right at the top like that to create that zenithal kind of light sourcing. So, yeah. So that's that. And that's a pretty straightforward one for everybody out there. So that's essentially appreciating in a nutshell, right? So pretty straightforward. Zalnos. Hey, Kris in chat. Hello, Zalnos. Zalnos? Yeah. Dark Commission, very simple. Yeah. Dark Commission, have you ever tried it? Doing a pre-shade on like the busts? Because I think that might break you into a whole new style, I think, on the bust. Because most of those busts, they have that kind of non-realistic kind of quality to them. It's not a criticism. You know what I mean? They feel like more like out of like a graphic novel, or out of a cartoon, or cel-shaded animation or something like that. You know what I mean? But either way, it's not like all the way kind of a realistic kind of look. Versus if you do that pre-shade kind of thing, where basically you're building up from black, have that mid-tone grays, and then have a white coming from the top. Not heavy, mind you. You don't do this very heavily. This is just a prime layer, and you can build color on top of this. And it actually can help you lay your highlights down and your shadows, and you know what I mean? And this actually, you can use it like a tool like that. Or if you use translucent colors, very translucent or transparent, you can actually use them to your advantage and actually create the actual gradients of color. You know what I mean? So it's entirely up to you how you want to build upon it. I think in my pre-shade video I show using transparent color to basically just fast your way through a miniature. It's a fun way of doing miniatures because it gets you those highlights and midtones and shadows, and you know what I mean, and it gets you all those things really easily, and you have to use transparent color, and it gives you all your color gradients, you know what I mean, and bang, you're done, right? So Dark Commission, never done pre-shade. I'm wanting to try it. Yeah, so you can do it by airbrush or by spray can. It'll work. Just be mindful how much you're laying down when you're using spray can. If you're using airbrush, I don't know if you have an airbrush, Dark Commission, but if you do have an airbrush, great. You can just do it either by laying the primer down or by laying base coat color down. Either way, it'll work. G squared, Kris, cool with the zenithal yellow. Yeah. That was it. I mean, because I know my models are going to be predominantly yellow, and I want the yellow to be striking. And so, like I did for this model here, all I did was I laid the yellow down and then built the black on top, and the flesh, and the whites. You know what I mean? And bang. Right? And this model's not done. I just got to do a little bit of highlights. But otherwise, yeah, he's mostly done. It's a gaming piece, so I'm not like going hog wild on details or anything like that. But otherwise, yeah. That's it. Demon Wraith, normal brush. Okay. Jabba's Left Nut. I am thinking of appreciating a great unclean one. But how do I cover the black primer with Nurgle greens? Well, if you want to do it with Zenithal, Like if you want to do a zenithal green on a great unclean one, shoot, man, that's gonna be easy. Do that? Don't they have green sprays? They have green sprays, don't they? Because one way you can go about it, okay, now this is, if you want to kind of get it done quickly, you lay a black primer on the model, right? Then you use whatever color green you have on hand as a spray can, right? And do the 45-degree angle. That gives you your mid-tones. And it pushes it down into the black, and you know what I mean? And it'll create that. You can either use Citadel or Army Painter, or even probably some Krylons, but I kind of leery of that one. Maybe like Tester colors, like Testers. Testers does spray cans, but otherwise, yeah. And if you can find a lighter green that's in that same kind of color as the mid-tone green, you just do a zenithal with that right from the top, bang, and you'd have all your greens done in one go, and you'd have most of the model done in one go. And because he's such a big model, you know, it'll save you some time. And especially if he's a gaming piece, you kind of want to, you know, get it ready for the tabletop right away, right? And because you're asking, like, as far as, like, you know, from a black primer perspective, I'm going to assume that you don't have an airbrush. So I'd assume you're going to use spray cans, and that's why I was recommending spray cans. If you have an airbrush, well then, you know, just use your colors and just do it. But yeah, that's the way I do it. At the very least, you could do it kind of like probably a light dusting from the top. If you don't have green, like say for example, if you're using Army Painter, I don't know if Army Painter has varying shades of colors. You know what I mean? Like a dark red and a light red, or a dark green and a light green. I don't know if they have that. If they do, fantastic. If they don't, then you could do like a mid-tone green and then come from the very top, very light, very carefully with a bit of yellow, and that can change it to a brighter kind of yellowy green. But or you could try white and then shade wash it and try and bring those highlights back. Again, got to be careful of that. But yeah. Ramv, Kris, do you find yellow difficult? I do. No, I don't find yellow difficult at all. Yellow's not difficult at all. As I've said many, many, many times, if you want it bright, you prime it white, right? So, if you want bright color, you prime it white. If you want dark colors, you prime it black or gray. Mid-tone gray is kind of the middle road for me, because I find that I can still put a light color on top of it, and I can still put a dark color on top of it. But I like it because I can see the model. Black, it's hard to see the details in the model. White, sometimes under my lights, it's too bright. I can't see the model. You know what I mean? Like I miss details. So, you know, yeah. But otherwise, no, I don't have any trouble. I don't have troubles with any colors. And I know why people have trouble with colors, and oftentimes because it begins at the priming phase, right? And that's why I always harp on the 3 fundamentals: cleaning your models, priming your models, and base coating your models. Once you've mastered those, then everything else starts to fall into place. So, yeah. Steve McDemon at Ramby. Base with Citadel, Everland, Sunset, it goes brilliantly over black or white primer. Any other yellow goes great over that. Yeah, I would agree. So Everland Sunset's a really fantastic yellow. It's a great way to base yellow and then build on top of it. And you don't have to lay too much of it down. It's just because it's such a solid color. Enforcer 357 Testers is not a good spray from when I used it. It made my Mark III Marines Swiss cheese. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask what you did there, because that doesn't make sense. Unless, of course, you're using a. Unless, I don't even know, because I mean, like, I don't even know why it would make them Swiss cheese. I'm assuming you're talking about it melted into the model. Is that if that's what you mean by Swiss cheese? Because yeah, that doesn't make a little bit of sense. Unless, of course, the Tester's paint happened to have acetone or some sort of other product like that. I'm trying to think typically what's in Tester's paint. Yeah, I don't know why it would melt or make holes in Space Marines. And if it was a spray color, you should have had it primed, the model primed, so it shouldn't have bled through the prime. No. Congo at Kris. 5 of 2. Oh, 5 minutes to 2. Jeez Louise. Eldari, just got my pre-order in for Blackstone Fortress. Cool. Yeah, I think it's a deal. And I can easily see a lot of Chaos players snapping that box set up because there's a lot of great models in that set. A lot of unique models. In fact, I don't think any of those models in that box are sold currently, right? They're all unique sculpts. Maybe the 2 Space Marines, but I'm pretty sure those Space Marines are like repos and they're not like the other previous Space Marines that are like that style. You know what I mean? Enforcer, I just sprayed them and the paint ate through the armor and made tiny bubbles. Were the Marines plastic or were they resin? And if they were resin, were they Forge World resin or were they somebody else's resin? There's a lot of factors at play here because melting miniatures with spray paint is not a typical thing. Eldari, thank goodness for Thunder Games and gifts. 15% off the order. Nice. Basically save the taxes. All right. Sorry, kind of fell asleep at the wheel here looking at the comments. Really quickly here, let's do another email. Yeah, let's do a jingle. Let's go with headphones. email time. Email time. Jingles are so much fun. And of course, we always have to thank Carl Guymere Alfer, aka Beer and Blood Bowl. That's his channel. Check him out. This is from our good buddy Trey. I don't know if there's a name there. I don't want to click that just in case it shows his email. But anyway, hey Kris, I'm looking to start 30k Alpha Legion Army, and I thought I'd airbrush them with a blue-green metallic color shift. I know you complained about the smell of the ones you use for the Eldar Webway. Have you found another product you like better? I have decent ventilation, so I could use spastics if I had to. Thanks for the quick tips. Trey. Oops. Yeah, good job, Kris. Yeah. As far as color shift paints are concerned... Oh, I clicked that. That's why everything messed up. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just... Yeah, shut up. As far as color shift paints are concerned, I've been really enjoying Turbo Dorks. Okay? Now, they're water-based acrylic, so there's not going to be any funny smells other than the smell of acrylics. Turbo Dork, they've got a wide variety of colors. They got, I think, 8 colors available. They're really, really good. I like them. They color shift. They have a really nice brilliance to them. Big thing you have to remember, though, is to use a gloss primer. So use like a Stynylrez Gloss Black. I highly recommend that one. That one works fantastic. It cures, dries quickly, and you're ready to go. Just spray it on, lay a nice even coat onto a model. When using the gloss primer, you kind of lay a little bit down. You know how I often harp on, not over priming. But when using a gloss, you kind of want to lay a teensy bit more than you normally would, just so that you get a nice even gloss on a surface, especially if you're using an airbrush. If you're not using an airbrush, try and find yourself a can of gloss primer. But yeah, then you apply these metallics down. If you're using by brush, just apply many thin coats. You'll eventually get there. Again, and then, of course, I highly recommend putting a gloss on top of that. So it adds to the reflectivity. I would not dry brush. I would not use any shade washes on top of it. It will kill the brilliance of that paint. I would just do simple edging and panel lining and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's as far as I'd keep the shadows and highlights. I would just keep to the edges. And you want to leave that surface, the main portion of the armor, leave it alone. Because that way you'll get lots of color shifting when the model's turned in the light, right? So, if you're doing it by hand, many, many layers, okay? It's not a hard thing, just a little bit more time consuming. If you're doing it by airbrush, turbo dork paints go through the airbrush just fine. Just turn your PSI down. I found I did not have to thin the paint at all. I just sprayed it about less than 20, and then sprayed only maybe, I don't know, about 10 centimeters away, and it went on just fine. Then apply gloss coat over that, and it'll be good. Of course, edge highlighting panels, stuff like that, same thing. Just so you don't kill the color shifting. If you want to go into the lacquer side of things, I definitely would recommend Spastics. That's a lacquer-based paint, so it's going to act differently than watercolor or water-based acrylics. It is going to smell. It's going to smell like spray paint kind of thing. Of course, Spastic also sells colors in aerosol spray cans. I think they sell the color shift paints in spray cans. So even for you guys out there who don't airbrush and just have brush, Spastics also has a spray can, and it's just like using a spray can, right? If you're using an airbrush, they sell the bottles. The bottles are reasonably priced, and you get a lot in the bottles. Again, you'll need lacquer thinner to clean your airbrush. You definitely need that, but you can go to almost any hardware store and find lacquer thinner and just run it through and just spray brush. I found that with the Spastics, I did not have to thin it at all. Again, turn the PSI down about 20, about 10 centimeters away, and just laid it on. You know, too far away, it'll dust. Too close, it'll push. So, about 10 centimeters at about 20 PSI, I find is a good distance for me using a Patriot 105. Anybody else out there, whatever gets that good even base coating done for you, you know what you do and how you do it, do that, right? If you're laying a base coat down and you know how to lay your base coat down with your airbrush and you're comfortable, and from what I described is not how you do it, and you get good results, by all means, do that, right? So, yeah. But otherwise, yeah, those would be the choices. Spastics. And Spastics, I find with the lacquer-based paints, I find that the colors are like the pigment in metallics, in lacquer-based lines, just tend to be a little bit better than water-based acrylics. For whatever reason, metallic colors are just, it's you know, somebody's eventually going to come up with a recipe with a superior metallic line that's going to, you know, compete with the lacquer base. But anybody who's played with lacquer based metallics will know what I'm talking about. They're just a far richer finish. Like even the chrome paints are proper mirror chrome, as opposed to something that was water based acrylic. You're just not going to get that chrome look. It's just not. It's not, for whatever reason, in the chemical process of water based acrylics, they just don't get that close binding action that lacquer-based paints do. Why that is, I would have to research further and deeper and ponder and research and, you know what I mean, and climb the highest mountain and, you know, light a few candles and think on it for a while, you know what I mean? Like, just, you know. I'm sure somebody out there knows already why lacquers are better than acrylics. And if they do, let me know. Let me know if you know why. So, yeah. Holy crap, we're 5 after 2. Any comments here? Aaron Seach, that doesn't sound right. Are you sure you didn't use Krylon and thought it was Testors? I have used Testors paints for years and never had an issue. I still use their flat black for airbrush primer. Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit confused as well as far as like what was the problem here. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. Demon Wraith 808. How do I send pics to you? I need to get info on my moodles. And your moodles? On your moodles? Get a Black Legion army and a Death Guard army. How do you get pics to me? You send an email to Kris@miniwargaming.com. It's in the description below. And of course, if you go to waythebrush.com, you'll find lots of other links to info and all the other ways. And of course, join us on Discord. Join us on Discord. You'll have a laugh or two. Steve McDemon, Alclad 2, best metallics I've ever used. Yeah. The Alclads are really, really good. Their chrome, apparently, like as I've seen the chrome, it's good. in comparison to like Spastics, I've seen the two compared side by side. The All-Clad gave a superior shine, but apparently the Spastics has more durability. So, yeah, you weigh your ups and downs, right? G squared at Kris. Every show should be titled, holy crap, it's... Name that time. Ishab. Well, another show is nearly over. Thanks, Kris, for a great show. Great tips and tricks, and all the monkey works outstanding. Yes. I think I'm going to handle one more email, because I think I have one more email. Aaron Siege. Lacquers dry a lot harder than acrylics at Kris. Did you get the pic I just sent of the orc? I seen there was a Facebook thing from you, so I'm going to assume that was it. I was thinking of more of like send that to my email so that I can show everybody. I can share that with everybody, kind of thing. Or you can share it to us on Discord. I don't know. Aaron, are you on Discord? You're on Discord, aren't you? Yeah, you are. You are. Don't lie. You are. Don't try and fool me. Yes, we got one more email, and we are going to do that right now. So yeah, the show's been running over many times anyway. So. Here we go. Yeah, let's do one more jingle. Just to get our toes tapping. And headphones. Email time. Email time. That one's really fun. I like that one. This one is from Kris, aka Congo. Took the advice given in the last two shows, and here is where I'm at. For the Minotaur, I'm probably going with regular steel iron, grays, and red for accents. For the Feral Guard Commander, I changed the signal on her back, and I'm debating making the red into an eye. Making the red into an eye. Interesting. And then there is the work in progress of the bust of Joan of Arc, Infinity by Luxumbra from Congo. And so let's have a look. And so we were talking about his Minotaur last time, and he wasn't too happy with how the flesh was turning out. And so here is where he's gone. He's basically just added a bit more deeper shadows into the into the shadows, giving us a bit more contrast in the flesh. And I think he was happier with this, and so I think rightly so, because there's a lot more contrast in the flesh, and it looks good. Ooh. Oh yeah, and he was also working on this Escher model from Necromunda. And oh, you're thinking of turning like the eye and like the Eye of Sauron kind of thing? I hear ya. That'd be cool. And of course, here's the Joan of Arc model. Nice work on the hair. Really, really good. Lots of texture. The metallics just looks fantastic. Look at that. I like the reflectivity like you see on the collar, on the breast, in the armor, and the armpit. Looks really, really good. The flesh. You've already got like tones on the flesh there, don't you? Yeah, you do. Look at that. I really like the subtle shadows in the eye, hairline. Oh yeah, under the eye too. Really, really nice work. I like that. It's nice and subtle. It's female faces on miniatures always tends to be a little bit tricky. I often always recommend very subtle kind of highlights and shadows on male faces, or really textured faces. Contrast is good because you want to bring some of those details out. Whereas on female faces, especially like a young female face, the shadows tend to be very, very subtle. Like you can go from a very bright high point on a cheek, but the transition of shadow through here is often very subtle. Like you don't have an abrupt shadow under here, because then it kind of makes the face look a little masculine. Whereas if it's a smooth shadow running along this length, it keeps the face feeling a bit more softer and a bit more feminine kind of thing. That's really good. I like the metals. The metal's really smooth looking. Yeah. Very good work. Very, very, very good. Good. Very good. So, thank you, Congo, for sending that in. Awesome job. I think you did fantastic work. I really don't have too much to offer because those were work in progress. I mean, you know, I think when you start pushing when you start getting closer to the finish line, and if you're having some hot trouble with some things and stuff like that, you know, bring it back. But I think you're well on your way with that Joan of Arc model. I think that's going to be fantastic. I'd like to see further updates on that, especially on a larger bust like that, which is obviously going to be more for display because, I mean, busts typically are not used as game pieces. Typically, there's a few games where they use busts, but anyway, you know, it's more for display, and you know, you want to put more effort. You want to go maximum effort with that. So, you know, very good, obviously. I think that's it for comments and stuff like that. Enforcer, that was the most metal jingle yet. That one, yeah, we haven't heard it a bit. Because usually whenever I do the jingles, I always just kind of go to the default first 2.5. But Carl made 4 of them for us, and so every show I should always try and use, you know, as many as possible, right? Aaron, Kris, just posted in the general on Discord might work. Okay, cool. We'll have a look at that later. Nathaniel, don't like busts. They always feel incomplete to me. Well, yeah, that's that's kind of the point. The busts are are like portraits. It's like a portrait painting, but it's a 3D representation of the person. That's what a bust is. You know, it's a close-up. It's a 3D kind of close-up. Before we had all the 3D printing and, you know, all that stuff. Busts go all the way back, right, into antiquity. And so, you know, that's what it is. It's like a portrait, right? You'll get a painting of a full person. It's like, oh, a full person. But then, you know, you get to just this stuff of a painting of a portrait, and you know what I mean? And that's what a bust is. A bust is a portrait. That's all it is. So does it feel like incomplete? I don't know. When you're looking at a portrait painting of a person, do you feel that the painting is incomplete? I don't know. I don't think so, right? So why one biased over another, right? So don't be biased. All right, I think we're done because we're caught up on emails. So send more emails, people, because otherwise I'm not going to do the show. If you don't send me any emails, I'm not doing the show. So if I get no emails this week, which is impossible because I think I already have emails, but that just came in today. If I don't have any emails, I'm not doing the show. So forget it. I'm not wasting my time. No, I'm just kidding. But it'd be a short show. It'd be roll call and then good night. If you're brand new to this hobby, you want some help with the color scheme, you know, maybe you just want to, you know, some tips on how to paint a little bit better, send your questions, comments to Kris@miniwargaming.com. It's in the description below. Of course, join me on wayofthebrush.com. That is the central hub of all this silliness. It has links to the Twitter, Instagram, Discord, Facebook, has all that stuff. And of course, there's links for t-shirts to help support the cause. You know, and of course, we had the previous contest of getting a picture of a Space Marine with it, Away with the Brush t-shirt on them, which, you know, Dark Commission and Raziel both won a prize. So congratulations to them for that one. If I think of another kind of fun thing to do, I mean, we'll do it. Not right away, because, you know, man, I mean, not made of prizes here. So, wayofthebrush.com also has links to the t-shirts, as well as everybody who's purchased a shirt. Send me a picture of yourself in your shirt, and I'll put it in the Monkey Shrine, because, hey, why not? And this show is always about you guys, and, you know, and helping you guys, you know, become better painters, and dispelling the myths of miniature painting, and just clarifying and helping you guys. That's what this is all about. It's helping you guys become better painters. And for you people who are brand new to this hobby, you know, sometimes you ask a question and, you know, you get met with, well, don't you know what this is? And blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, I just asked a simple question. I just want to know because I don't know. I'm brand new to this. And you're like, just won't somebody help me? So feel free to ask your questions. Even if you think that it's completely newbie type of question, feel free to ask. Feel free. I'll happily answer your questions. Because I've answered many times, and of course the monkeys will always help as well, because the monkeys are very knowledgeable folk as well, and a lot of them are longtime viewers, and they know my usual responses to, you know, the questions, and you can take their questions or their answers as, you know, pretty much coming from me, because a lot of them are longtime viewers. So, waythebrush.com also has links to the Patreon. If you're considering Patreon support, which, you know, thank you beforehand, of course. I only ever charge for Way of the Brush. So every episode. So I only do 4 episodes a month. So I think you can work out the math on what, you know, what it would cost you as far as, you know, supporting me. And of course, becoming a patron, also we do the patron paint along, which is basically we work together. We go live and we talk and we interact, and, you know, we're all painting the same project together, and, you know, it's a lot of fun. And so that's, I don't charge for that. That's just my way of saying thank you to all the patrons who support me. It's just some extra painting time, loan, you know, and tutorage, and, you know, and stuff like that. So, and of course I also have that on the Patreon page as well. You can purchase an hour or so with me. I say by an hour, but it's usually more than that, you know, just because, you know, we talk and, you know, jib jab and whatever, right? So, big thanks always to my patrons, because again, without them, I wouldn't have the resources to do all this fun stuff and do prize support and, you know, all these upgrades and stuff like that I've been currently doing. And, you know, because I'm trying to make this show the best that it possibly can be, and, you know, that's why I do it. So, big thank you to my patrons. And of course, big thank you to Carl, aka Guymere Alfer, aka Beer and Blood Bowl. That's his YouTube channel. Check him out. If you like yourself some Beer and Blood Bowl, I highly recommend you check him out. It's good for a laugh. And of course, a big thank you to him, because he took time out of his busy schedule to create the jingles that we all know and love before every email segment. That just rocks our socks or gets a groove going or whatever. So yeah, I think we learned something today. We might have learned something. We might have learned something. I don't know. I'm watching some of these comments fly by. I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about. I don't know. Nathaniel, Kris, I'm sitting on a AMSPA Ninja bust. Feels incomplete. Too much of a converter than painter. Sure, why not? You know. Jabba's left nut. Dog, you have to do a show because Patreon is liked to the show. Is linked to the show? Yeah. Of course, yeah, for everybody out there on that, you know, that can't afford, you know, or I'm not, you know, just not ready for Patreon support. I mean, that's perfectly fine, you know, that's okay. I still do the show. But what I would ask is that everybody give it a thumb up, comment, like, subscribe, you know, share. That all helps as well. That helps as well. So it just takes one click, and you're helping me a lot, right? A click. You know, you can't give old Kris a click. That doesn't sound quite right, but, you know, that's what it's all about. So don't be afraid. Dark Commission, it's getting cold out. Should I wear one thick coat or 2 thin ones? Har 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 hardy har har. 2 thin coats. Smart ass. Demon Wraith, yes, I learned a lot. Good. I'm glad. That's good to hear. Because again, I wouldn't do this. I could do other things. Tavo, I learned cinnamon in coffee might be worth a try. Definitely give the cinnamon in coffee worth a try. Give it a worth a try. Just give it a try. If you're a coffee drinker, you're gonna love it. I almost guarantee it. I should have a disclaimer. Guarantees are not actually enforceable or. Nitfink, I wish my bust model would arrive. You still have not gotten your bust model. Damn. Do they have a phone number? Can we call them? We should all just call them. We all should, hey, where the hell is, you know, this bust? I mean, come on, we got somebody waiting here. Yeah, that's a little disappointing. I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, even with my Canada Post strike going on here, I mean, I got mine, you know, so an American Postal Service, I mean, you know, bless them, because they're pretty good. Better than Canada's. Even when Canada wasn't striking. American Post is a good service. I know a lot of people crap on the Postal, but compared to Canada's, man, U.S. Post is fast and efficient. Nitfink, I think they're ignoring me. You think so? Maybe I'll give them a call. I'll say, hey, what the... Well, we'll deal with that after the show. I'll give them the old, hey, do you know who you're talking to? This is Mini Wargamer Kris. God's sakes, man. You know who I am? They'll be like, who? Who the hell is what? Who? Who's talking? I know, Dark Commission, yeah, exactly. It's been nearly 4 weeks since he sent the bus to me. So Dark Commission sent me one. So I still have not gotten it. I've gotten mine from where we ordered. And, yeah, the one Dark Commission sent me has not arrived. But again, the Postal Service is complete poo. So, yeah. So anyway, take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you. I will see you guys on Discord in a few moments. After I take care of a couple things, I will be on Discord. And Steve McDemon, Canada hasn't even moved on from delivering by Moose. Delivered by Moose? Yeah. Do you know how... Okay, all joking aside, Canada Post delivering by Moose. Do you know how hard it is to get a moose onto a canoe? Think about that for a bit. All right, I'm getting the hell out of here. Let's go on to Discord for a bit, and I don't know, we'll talk craziness, I suppose. Oh, you guys waiting for me to do something silly now? Is that what it is? Everybody's expecting the what is it, the superhero ending? My God, look at the time. These shows keep getting longer and longer. This show is not moving to 3 hours. I believe you me. That's too damn long. Too long. Come on, I thought we said we were going to go to Discord. You guys still sitting around here. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Turn it off. God. Freaking weirdos. Don't be weird. Get off here. We'll go. Why are you still here? I'm not going to do anything funny. I'm not going to say anything funny. I'm just going to stare at you.